Good morning and afternoon, everybody that are attending this webinar. My name is Carmen Andrade. I am a co-deputy convener of Commission 8 that we have organized together with Commission 3 this webinar, and we just wait a couple of minutes for the people to reach and to connect, and we will immediately start the presentations. I am going to share the program of the webinar to show the webinar today that is organized by the Commission 8 and Commission 3. Our objective is that this workshop try to discuss the definition of durability indicators, and we have a set of very good presenters today that you have there. I will start by introducing Commission 8, but after is Alfred Strauss, the convener of Commission 3, who will take the chair for just presenting Commission 3 and his presentation. And the rest will follow the order that is in this flyer. Thank you all for attending, and I will present Commission 3 that I hope that you see now. Commission 8, sorry. The convener is Jose Matos, who is excusing because he has classes, and the other deputy convener is Manu Santhanam from India. In this Commission 8, we have four active task groups. The first one is chaired by Steinar Helland, one of our presenters today, with 4 active working parties, those that are in black, on durability planning by Rodney Paul. 3, the working party 3, on exposure zones and climate change by Juanita Dagula. Also by Stephanie von Greff-Dürfel on eco-efficient concrete, and the working party 6 on the durability, the serviceability and ultimate limit states applied to durability. The working party 8.9 that we have been very active preparing this webinar that I will present just following this slide. The task group 8.12 that is chaired by Manu Santhanam, that is mainly on deterioration mechanisms that are related to other than corrosion, and we have freeze and thaw, abrasion, chemical attack, and internal attack. And a final one that is chaired by Carola Edvardsen on testing and monitoring. That one is working party 2 is chaired by Roberto Torrent, also one of our speakers today, and by Joan Ramon Casas, one on monitoring. And briefly and quickly, I will present the structure of task group 8.9, that we are dealing with deterioration mechanisms but related to corrosion, that we chair Josh Gullikers, also one speaker today, and myself. And we have 5 working parties. One is on the corrosion initiation period, the propagation, the corrosion propagation, chloride threshold, that we had a workshop last week that is chaired by Frank Patworth and Federica Lolini. The working party 4 that is by David Gardiner on corrosion on fiber reinforced concrete, and corrosion in pre-stressing by Brett Pilstick. That is the 5th working party. And we need to develop models to update. We have already models to update and go a step forward. And this is my presentation. I thank all the presenters for being here today. And well, please, Alfred, go ahead, and the presentation is yours.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Yes, I'm asked to just give also a presentation about the Commission 3. So it's a pleasure also to present here the Commission 3, the work of Commission 3, and to be also here invited for this workshop about the durability indicators. So I'm chairing this Commission 3 of the FIB, and my co-chairs is Robbie Caspelli from Ghent University, and Thomas Braml is just having the technical secretary. He's just organizing with us together here, all these administrative stuffs and our activities there. First of all, I would like to give you a small overview what we are doing in the Commission 3. Commission 3 already exists more than 10 years. Was just organized from a special activity group about existing concrete structures during the development of the Model Code 2010. And the first two task groups, as you can see here, task group 3.1 and 3.2, were just at the beginning initiated. In particular, it's about the full probabilistic and semi-probabilistic methods. It's from Mirik, Professor Sikora is the chair of that, and modeling structural performance, it's Professor Coronelli who is chairing this one. Some more details I will show in the next slides. Then other task groups like the 3.3 about life management, testing and structural health monitoring. This exists since I think 5-6 years now. That was just initiated after a period after the SACA special activity group, and is now chaired by Sylvia Kessler, Professor Kessler from Hannover University. And then we also initiated at the same time the task group 3.4 about implementation and interventions. And a very young, I think 3 years ago, we initiated also the forensic engineering task group from Professor Sonta. So what are the task groups more in detail about, and also with respect to the durability indicators? In task group 1, more or less, the main focus is on the durability and safety evaluation of the existing structures. This task group developed, for instance, in Bulletin already working on safety factors for existing structures, and they are, as you can see here on the slide, they are addressing the risk and durability target levels as well as on a full probabilistic level as on a semi-probabilistic level, particularly with respect to the assessment methods. So they are supporting the other task groups in specific pending questions, but also very mainly in the last years now focusing on the model code, on the new model code, and have also already liaisons with the Commission 8 with durability, and on this level of reliability and safety format. So formulating, I think, specific or addressing specific durability issues with respect to durability. Yeah, then we have modeling and structural performance by Professor Coronelli. This group is focusing on the modeling assessment of existing structures. They also released 1 or 2 years ago a bulletin about general assessment with modeling the existing structures. And for them, it's on the one side, the main focus is of course the assessment, but using mainly the modeling part or the modeling tools, and also damage and deterioration. So they are modeling corrosion with respect to, and also the performance, as well as I know from the group, they are also modeling, for instance, transport processes. So with respect to corrosion. So you can see here what they exactly defined now in their last period. Idea is to show exactly those methods, modeling methods, which allows you to define, characterize the real bearing capacity, then the bearing capacity with respect to components that are damaged and deteriorated, and also the bearing capacity for structures that are designed on basis of old codes and recommendations. So that is what they are focusing mainly. I'm also mentioned here below, where they have a link to the durability indicators with respect to fatigue, corrosion, etc. there. Then the task group 3, life management, testing and structural health monitoring by Sylvia, by Professor Kessler just chaired, and also Maria Pina is here, she's the co-chair. She will maybe also report about this task group 3.3. The idea was there to set up guidelines, state-of-the-art guidelines for the decision-making processes using testing, health monitoring or monitoring systems and also through life management, and also to define through life management concepts. And specific objectives in their group are advanced assessment techniques, but as well as simplified assessment approaches, and also the development of the practical decision-making procedures. So they just released, or it is approved, but will be published soon, the bulletin of the 3.3. I think the name is Life Management, like the task group there. So will be published, I think, beginning of next year now, is under printing process. So you will find here non-destructive, semi-destructive monitoring assessment management in this bulletin as well. Then we have Professor Ueda. He is focusing on the implementation of interventions, mainly working in the last years on supporting the Model Code 2020 in conservation of in the chapter of conservation and techniques of implementation of intervention, and dealing also with the major intervention methods and the through life management. So this is the group co-chaired by Professor Mancini there. So means they are also related, of course, to the other groups, 3.3. There are liaisons, and I think also there is a liaison to Commission 8 somehow. And then the newest one is the forensic engineering group by Professor Sonter. They are drafting the forensic engineering bulletin now, and their focus is mainly to show the whole concept of forensic engineering, from testing to assessment to all processes that have to go through the forensic engineering. And also they focused also on those, but what can be learned from such forensic processes and from damages from the past, and in particular also to understand and gain from forensic engineering studies what can we learn for the future. So that are the task groups 3.1 to 3.5, and in particular, since I'm involved mainly also in this 3.3, I wanted to show you in particular here a little bit what we did with respect to indicators, performance indicators, and maybe also how this can be linked into the durability indicators. So the FAP 3.3, life management and testing, as mentioned before, focuses in the development of the bulletin of these chapters here. So we are here searching a process where we show mainly the assessment process, beginning from the survey techniques, testing, monitoring methods. I think Maria will here go more in detail to the other parts here. So we structured this work then, as you can see, in the condition survey testing and monitoring methods. Then what to do then with this data, new data that we obtain, means we said then about which condition assessment procedures are there, and how these condition assessment procedures have to be then somehow transferred to indicators, performance indicators, and to include this in advanced methods. And then finally to set up after that one and decision-making process. So this is more or less also the content of the bulletin, chapter 5, and then we just present also some case studies to show the practical application of that. With respect to the performance indicators here, we said, in particular, this was the chapter 4, where me and Professor Sauser and Ivia Pastolidi, Technical Secretary, and others more, like Professor Noble, were included, and of course also Carmen were included. We just structured it in that way. We said we know about, we presented or collected those physical models and methods that are important for for a prediction of degradation and for propagation. We then also showed the stochastic methods to include also uncertainties. And then also we presented in this, or we focused also in this chapter on model updating procedures. And then finally to bring this information to a level of indicators. So the performance indicators. And then the performance indicators, from our point of view, this was on the assessment level. So we were more or less focusing on, I will show it also in the next slides, not only on the material level, but also on the structural level, and maybe also on the system level and network level. So we said, okay, these performance indicators can be somehow oriented to the, more or less to the inspectors, to the analysts, but we also have to find here a way to key performance indicators, which allows more or less also the management of a structure. And finally, we try to work out here also with the help or support of other projects, work out here this way from performance indicators to the lifetime assessment, but not only on the structural level, but also on the management level then. So this was the main path that we were going through this chapter number 4 there. And what does it mean a little bit? I show here some problems or some definitions we had to do and also clarifications. We said, okay, we had to first find out exact definitions. What, for instance, are performance indicators? Then we also differentiated in the different feedbacks from inspections and so on. We know we have observations that gives us data. Some of these observations are performance indicators. Some of the performance indicators could be key performance indicators that help us in the management. And as you can see here on the right side, that means we have degradation mechanisms that not only are affected or happens on the structure, but also influenced by the environment. We have degradation mechanism and degradation processes. We have degradation indicators that must not be necessary performance indicators. Some of the degradation indicators could be inactive indicators, but do not affect the performance. And some of them are active. We call them these classical performance indicators. And then we had the next level, key performance indicators. That means that are important for the performance then and for the management. Yeah, so what we also faced then in this chapter 4 and in our study and was in the group that we have this, we have to differentiate in the different levels to say material, component, system, network. And then to categorize it also with respect to the type of damages, categorize it with the type of the structure, and with the and also how damage is identified. So that was another research point or working activity in this group. And then finally, we also differentiated in the different levels to say, okay, we have, for instance, visual inspection possibilities that allows us to come to the KPIs, to the key performance indicators. We have, for instance, a deeper phase. That means we include detailed inspection programs, non-destructive testing, semi-destructive testing, and then maybe also then that allows us to go then to this management level where we can address reliability or availability. And then third level, we have then the structural health monitoring concepts or modeling concepts also, for instance, addressed in the DG 3.2. That also allows us to define the performance indicators, and then finally the assessment there. And this here, I had here support, of course, from project works, and the group were just working on these concepts there. So finally, these concepts we applied to different structures here. One of the structure in Austria, we've also wanted to find out where is the interaction between modeling, visual inspection, exactly when we define such level, how we can use digital twin approach to say, okay, this exactly is the interface, or when we detect from visual inspection that we have to go to phase 3. So this was also a discussion in this group there. And also, for instance, what to do then with cracks, with degradation process, and how to model it, and how to combine, for instance, reinforcement reduction in the structure, and what does it mean really on a structure in the space, for instance. Yeah, that was more or less a little bit an overview and some more details about the working in the 3.3. What we can say, we see the durability indicators in all of our 5 task groups. So where we have slightly an interaction already, or where we have to develop, of course, more interaction. I think we have interactions, of course, in the first probabilistic task group, 0 probabilistic methods, also with modeling of structural performance, with the life management and testing structural health monitoring. We have also already an interaction. I think where we will move forward now with the durability indicators, or where we need to do some further steps, are in the last 2 task groups, implementation of interventions and forensic engineering, of course. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to present you about Commission 3 and our view and our concepts about the performance indicators. And thank you very much. And yeah, questions are welcome.
Thank you, Alfred. I profit to say that the questions can be written in the Q&A. If you like to comment anything that is, well, Adriana is trying to say, could you tell us more about this, how to censor for monitoring?
Yeah, definitely. So we had discussions in order to, so we, in this specific, in the bulletin, in chapter 6, we showed different methods of monitoring and also sensor technique or test techniques, but definitely we were not going in that deep in the sensor technology, because we saw it also as an how to say, and continuously development of sensor technologies. So we tried to formulate which are the physical parameters, and then which are the indicators, and how they have to be used and for decision making, for an assessment method, for the procedures. So that was more or less what we were mainly focusing in the 3.3. So we were not going in that deep to say, okay, we are elaborating all or showing all sensor technologies. And there was also some previous work on the sensors, on monitoring concepts that we, of course, addressed also then in the 3.3. I hope this was the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Answer it.
Yes.